Buyers, you should be thrilled right now. Home buyers should be smiling ear to ear. Home sellers, if I was you, I'd still be smiling as well. We are absolutely still in a seller's market. There isn't any doubt about that. The leverage is still on the seller's side. However, this is the best time that I have seen to buy a home in 2 years. 2 years it's been since it was this good of a time to buy. And I made a prediction about a month ago that I'm sticking to. In a year, home prices will be higher and interest rates will be higher. I guarantee it. And I'm sticking with those two predictions. So again, great time for buyers, still a good time for sellers, but this is the best time for buyers in a long time. And it's been quite an interesting year. And I'm here to talk to you about that. I'm going to do a September real estate market update. Part of that will be reviewing the August housing report. Part of that will be talking about what's going on now, what I see coming up this fall, going into the first of the year. So if you are a home buyer or home seller, I suggest you give me about 20 minutes of your time because you all have a much better understanding of what's going on in the market by the time I'm done. Anthony Lamacchia here with Lamacchia Realty, and I thank you for tuning in. First thing that I want to show you, I always like to go back, then we talk present, then we talk predictions. Let's take a look at something here quickly. I am going to show you the August housing report. Let me jump in there and scroll up. August 2021 housing report. Let's take a quick look. This is for Massachusetts. Remember, today's update, folks, is a Massachusetts and New Hampshire update. Next week, I will be doing a South Florida update. But for today, we're focused on Mass and New Hampshire. Take a look at that. Homes sold in August up 1.6%. So some people might see that and say, wait a second, why are they only up 1.6%? They were up much bigger numbers before. Of course, because in the late spring months last year in 2020, the market shut off mid to late spring months. The market shut off because of the pandemic. And this year, we kept going all throughout, right? So that's why sales now are down, because by the time homes were getting listed last spring, they were selling like crazy July, August, and September. And now, yeah, we're up, but we're not up that much because last year they were roaring. Average sale price in Massachusetts this August over last up 13%. Homes listed is up as well. I'm actually questioning that number. Hang on, I got to look at something. I thought that was wrong. So something is off on our graphic. I apologize about that. But the homes listed for sale was slightly less this August compared to last. And the homes pending was slightly less as well. I want to get back on screen and explain to you all why one more time. Follow me here. I know it's a little bit complicated. In the spring of 20, okay, everything in the world shut down. So we had an extremely unusually slow April and May. Then when things turned back on, June and July, it got extremely busy, which resulted in lots of homes being listed last year at that time and a tremendous amount of homes closing in the months of August and September. That's why, yeah, we're up for homes sold, but only up by a little bit, 1.6%. This summer, homes listed is down compared to last summer, and homes pending was down slightly. So what that means, by the time we get to September, I think home sales will be even with last September or maybe even down slightly. But that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the market. It's still way up over 2019. No question about that, over 19, over 18. So I wanted to go over that with you for a minute. We just posted this August housing report. I didn't have time to proof it yet, and I ended up doing it in front of you. But let me show you what's going on currently in our Massachusetts real estate updates page. And remember, to get to this, all you do is log on to marealestateupdates.com. Right there, marealestateupdates.com. And you can literally see firsthand what is going on now in the market. And you can compare to last year. You can look backwards over the last few months and really take a good, strong look at it. And if you see here, last week, 2,528 2,528 homes listed, call it 2,500. The week before, we were pushing almost 3,000, call it about 2,800. The week before, about 25. So we've had 3 weeks in a row that more homes were listed, 7,500 homes coming on the market in the last 3 weeks, folks. If you are a buyer, you should be elated, absolutely elated. 2,500 homes coming up for sale in the last 3 weeks. That is more homes listed for sale than in any single week. Ready? Follow me back here. Back to late June. Back to late June. So clearly there's a lot of people that came on after Labor Day. This is fantastic. It's good for the market. It's great for buyers. Buyers get more choices. However, it's not enough to catch up to where we were last year. So this is the amount of homes for sale right here, right now, or as of, I should say, Saturday night. 9,500 homes for sale in Massachusetts. I will tell you, as a real estate geek who's been monitoring real estate for, 20 years, 15 years, very heavily, it's fascinating to me, historically speaking, to live in a state like Massachusetts where we have, 6 or 7 million people, and it looks like we're going to go through the year not going over 10,000 homes for sale. Maybe we will briefly in early October. We might brush up on 10,000, or maybe go over. But by and large, we're going to go this whole year without going above 10,000. So think about that. Look at the trend. We're going to go up in early October. I'm going to talk about that more in a few minutes for buyers. I'm going to tell buyers the number one week of the year that they should buy a home. If you look here, it's going to go up a bit more, and then it's going to go down toward the end of the year. Will there be crossover? I will tell you all, I sincerely hope so. I sincerely hope that there's a crossover. What do I mean by that? I don't want to start the year as low as we started 2021. That is why we had a major frenzy, okay? That's why that happened last winter. I don't see it being as bad as this winter coming up, but it's going to be bad again. So you buyers that don't buy in the next month and you say, oh, I'm going to wait till next year, I promise you, you will regret it. I guarantee it, okay? So I wanted to show you that. Now I'm going to scroll down and show you just single families. You can see single families is trying very hard to catch up, but it's just not there. And that's last year. Never mind 19 and 18. Think about that. We're still way behind pre-pandemic levels, way behind. But it is getting better, and it will be a lot better for the next 3 weeks. The buyers that buy in the next 3 weeks will look like geniuses come winter. By next March, the buyers that bought in the next 3 weeks are going to look like geniuses. So, homes pending per week. Look at this. Highest amount of homes pending back to mid-June. Last week with 2,400. So think about that. 2,500 homes were listed. 2,500, I don't know what it was, 43. 2,443 went pending. Almost 100% absorption of what got listed. However, the week before it wasn't, and the week before it wasn't. That's why we're able to have some more inventory. You can see it was low around Labor Day, and it came up. It's really amazing data to look at. Homes sold peaked in the end of August, going to peak over the next week, the amount of homes sold. Look at the percentage of properties that went pending, okay? Percentage of properties that went pending last week. 25% of the homes for sale went pending. Now, that's a huge number. And if you think about it, that's higher than it's ever been in a single week last year or in any year before. We haven't had 25% of homes go pending. Maybe in 01 or 02, we saw a little of that, but look at this year, the turquoise. Look at how many weeks, 30%, 40%. It's incredible what we've seen here. Literally a real estate history lesson we're living through, folks. But this shows this 25%, there's major buyer demand out there. Sellers, don't let that go to your head. Don't overplay your hand, because this is the time of year you'll end up not selling. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. Look at this. August average sale price, $584,000, higher than any other time in the last, what does this go back to? 05. 05 it goes back to. And there's 05 right there, the light blue line. Right there. Then after that, prices went down some. Then they recovered and went up, and look what happened. Anybody who thinks prices are going to go down in the next year doesn't understand how the real estate market works. There's some softening happening right now, normal seasonality, but they don't understand how the market works. Take a look at this. Homes listed in August, okay? Compared to last year, down 8%. Pending, down 9%. Sold, down 1%. Now, you could see that. A layman would see that and say, oh, the market is falling apart. No. It's typical seasonal adjustment that we did not feel as much last August because we lost out in the spring. And the spring ended up happening in the summer. Don't be fooled. That's what happened there. If we go back and compare to 19, we're ahead on listed, we're ahead on pending, a little behind on sold for August. So that's interesting. Now, let's go back to me for a minute because I want to do a bit of a recap on that. So when you think about what happened there in the market, okay? Last summer, we had a ton of catch up to play. This summer, we had some catch up to play. We did still see a lot of sellers who didn't want to list their homes early this spring. And I'll tell you, there's sellers out there right now that don't want to list for the same reasons as the spring. They don't know where they're going to go and they're worried about the pandemic. They don't want strangers coming in their home to see it. But there's less. It's getting easier. It's going to continue to get easier, at least with respect to worrying about where they're going to go for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Then the market's going to start tightening up again. Remember what that graph showed? That graph showed the inventory levels doing this. Once you get to about October 20th, it does this. I'm going to talk about that more in a few minutes. I'm going to talk about what you're going to see as home buyers and home sellers. I'm going to go over with you what you're going to see in the next 6 weeks. But first, let me jump into New Hampshire. I want to show you New Hampshire. I'm going to go up here. You know what? I'll share the screen and let you all watch me do it. Jump over there, and I'm going to type in the browser, NH Real Estate updates.com. Check out this page. The page we developed. These pages, our marketing team, they did a phenomenal job. Glenn is with me now. He's watching. You folks can't see him, but they did a phenomenal job building this out during COVID last year, and we did it to make it more, make it easier for buyers and sellers to see what's going on, and realtors. We know a lot of realtors look at our data, and we're happy about that. Homes listed last week, 566. Now, what's interesting in New Hampshire is the homes listed is a little bit more in line with prior years. The dip in homes listed was much more considerable in Labor Day than in prior years. The dip in, it's funny, last year, July 4th, that dip was interesting too. So it's kind of funny how markets work. But bottom line, homes are getting listed. It's certainly up since Labor Day, okay? Let me jump now to homes pending per week. Look at this. Same thing, back up. Last week was a big week for pending sales. Lots of buyers scoffed up homes. Good for you. You'll be happy you did in 6 months. Now you go here. Homes sold per week. Looking good. Look at home prices. Trending upward. Looks like, so the average here is, we're in the month. Average is down a little from the month before. That doesn't mean anything overall. It's still up. And next year at this time, mark my words, folks, 2022, when this graph is here, you're going to see prices in New Hampshire be more like 450, 470, 480. We're going to be approaching 500 by this time next year. Please do remember I said that. Now what I want to do is come back to me. So we just talked about what happened in the summer and why. Right now, we are seeing what normally happens in the fall. After Labor Day, people list. In the beginning of list, buyers scoff homes up. We saw that last week. We're seeing that this week. I can already see it, even though I'm not showing you this week's data. I monitor the market throughout the week. Homes are getting eaten up. Next week, it's going to start to cool a little bit. Here's why. Every week that goes by, more buyers find homes. Every week that goes by, more sellers list homes. Remember, I always do this with my hands. Beginning of the year, right? Beginning of the year, there's this many buyers, there's this many sellers. As we went into September, got a little closer. Now you go into September, more homes are getting listed. The amount of buyers each week's going down. I'm not going to say it's going to come close, but it's going to come a decent distance from each other, with sellers still having the advantage, still having less sellers. Then you get to early October, and there's a little lull. Every single year, there's a little lull in early October, because by then buyers start saying, I haven't really found what I wanted. Gee, there's more to choose from. Maybe the market's falling apart. This is 2008. Maybe I'll pull back. I'll wait. Sellers start hearing from their realtors. Sellers, if they're smart, start considering price adjustments. If you go through this month and you don't sell, you've got to consider a price adjustment, particularly if your home's being listed correctly and marketed correctly and it's not selling, you need to look at the price. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. You don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. So there's always a little lull in early October. By mid-October, the sellers that are serious about selling adjust their prices. The buyers that are serious about buying start saying to themselves by about October 20th, gee, if I want to buy a home this year, I'd better hurry up. Inventory starts to dip. Let me show you again. I'll bring it back up. I got no problem doing that. I just want to show you how I come up with these things so you don't think I'm making up stories. But I'm going to pull the inventory of homes for sale list back up for you all to see. And I'm going to share the screen as I'm making this point. Look at what happens every single year. You get to about mid-October, inventory peaks. Early October, the first 2 weeks in October, is the #1 time of year to buy a home. Now, if you just bought one last week, don't hear that and say, oh my God, I should have bought next week. No. We're splitting hairs. It's a little bit better. The least demand of the year happens to be when inventory is at its highest, which is the first 2 weeks in October. Really, the first 7 days is the optimum time, okay? Those that buy now to then will be happy. Then you're going to see mid-October, some people start saying, you know what? I'm going to take my home off the market. It's not selling. You have sellers come off the market. Then you have some sellers who are serious, adjust their prices, and more homes get scoffed up. So there's always a bubble of activity in late October, early November, okay? That's what drives the inventory of homes for sale down more. Than you get in December, it falls off a cliff. That's the seasonality that we deal with up here in the northern states every single year. So if you're watching, no, I don't have a crystal ball, but I look at history, and history leaves clues. So let me repeat, if you're a buyer, buying at any time in the next 6-7 weeks, you're golden. You should be thrilled. But really, the best time is about the next 2.5. That's your optimum time. If you're a seller and you get to about October 10th and your home is not selling, or even if you've been on 3 weeks and it's not selling, adjust now while buyers are still active. You're going to see a lull in buyer activity early October. Then end of October, it picks up. But I have news for you sellers. Don't hear that and say to yourself, well, I'll just wait till end of October. No. If a home sits on the market 30, 40 days, buyers don't just mysteriously go, well, that's been on the market 40 days. Geez, I'd love to make a full price offer. It's not how it works. If the home just gets on the market, that's when buyers are most likely to make offers over asking price. So if you're a seller who's also buying, you should be thrilled. You should be over the moon. You can do this. You can actually have some time to think. If you're a buyer, you should be happier than anyone. If you're a seller, you can sell. We'll sell your home. You're still in the driver's seat, but don't overplay your hand. I can't say it enough. Don't overplay your hand. Glenn, we should take a video of me, that exact clip, the last 20 seconds, and just send it to sellers, because sellers are famous at this time of year for overplaying their hand. They reach too high with their prices, or they get too strict on a home inspection. There'll be a home inspection. A buyer will come back and say, hey, you've got termites. Can you treat it? And the seller says, no, I refuse. My neighbor sold their house. They didn't have to do anything. I refuse. Buyer bails out, walks away. In a month, you sell your home for less. And you think, I thought we were in such a hot market. We are, but don't overplay it. Don't overdo it. Be intelligent about your decision. Think to yourself, if I was a buyer, would I pay this much? Be mindful of those kinds of things. That's all, my friends. I hope you have enjoyed my September update. I'm going to talk about South Florida next week. Still very hot. Inventory is even lower down there. Everybody is going to destinations. People are also going to destinations up in the Lakes region in New Hampshire. We're having a lot of buyers reach out to us, and we're helping a lot of buyers up in that region. So if you are buying or selling anywhere, we can help you. But the areas we serve, New England and South Florida, folks, please do not be shy about reaching out. Allison Perry, I do not know you, but I appreciate hearing you say that you love all of this. I'm as real as you get with housing data, my friends. Someday when I see the market starting to tip, I'll be the first one to tell you. Some of my competitors won't appreciate that. But you have my word. I'll tell you when I think the market is collapsing, and we are nowhere near that, my friends. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Happy home buying and selling.